Today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show, go to patreon.com/JoshuaVelas and become a $2 backer today and get early access to the new episodes. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, but for now, on to today's episode. You're listening to the Augmented Experience podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Joshua Velas. I'm a student, musician, and a gamer at heart. Join me as I sit down every week to talk about all the latest news in the technology, business, and video game world. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Velas. I am your host as usual, and obviously welcome back to the show. Today's episode 160 of the show, and before we get started, I'm going to do a bit of house cleaner quick because, well, you guys know we like to do it around here, and it only makes sense that we do it. So, yeah, let's just get on with it. Because I wouldn't say it's an impactful episode, but there definitely is a good amount to talk about, and there's some things on my mind regarding it. But I do want to say thank you guys for coming back and listening. It really does mean a lot to me. You guys constantly keep coming back and you keep downloading these episodes, you keep sharing these episodes, you constantly keep letting me know how you feel about them, whether you're listening to the audio version or watching the video versions on YouTube. Either way, I greatly appreciate you guys. You guys are great. I also want to say thank you guys for helping us hit over 2150 total downloads. So 2150 is 2150. So I greatly appreciate you guys for that. Thank you. It means a lot to me. I also want to say thank you to the Patreon backers. You guys are great. Thank you for constantly supporting the show. You guys are lovely. Hopefully we can get more Patreon backers as we keep going along. Obviously, if you want to become a Patreon backer, you can click the link down below and get early access to the episodes or be part of the Discord. We're also working on other stuff, but that will come in due time. However, I will say for the video version, for those that are watching this, I did get something interesting over the weekend that I've been messing around with. And some people are probably going to say, Josh, please tell me you did it. And if I can just get this dang thing over here. So I actually got this bad boy. Currently, this is the M1 MacBook Air. I ended up getting I believe it was the 8GB model with the full 8-core GPU and 8-core CPU with 512GB of storage. And I personally am trying it out. I will be doing a review about it, I would say after I do my testing and what I want to do with it and see how it goes. But the main assessment that I'm trying to go with is, can it replace my iPad Pro for what I do for school? Because I always use my iPad Pro for schoolwork besides my desktop because, well, I have the big computer for all the big heavy lifting, and the iPad can do like the Microsoft Excel, typing Word documents, sending emails and stuff like that. But I want to see if this laptop form factor is probably a better fit in terms of performance, in terms of, just better quality and things like that, and just having it all together. So we're currently trying it out. We're seeing how it works, and I'll let you guys know how it goes. Yes, this is my first Mac I've ever owned or used. I wouldn't say use because I've used Mac OS before and I've used a Mac, but I've never properly used like a MacBook and things like that for like my personal use. I've messed around with them, but I've never actually like owned one and used one. So this will be a very fun experiment. But aside from that, I think it's time we get on today's episode, which is ironic that I showed that MacBook when we're going to be talking about the Apple event in March. So why is the Apple event in March important? Well, for starters, we don't know if it's happening. So I will say that when we talk about the thumbnail for the episode and things like that, I'm probably going to put like an asterisk or something. But there's been very conflicting reports, whether it be from John Prosser sources, whether it be from Mark Gurman. Many people have stated that, look, the Apple event could probably happen. It probably may not happen. It may just be like what happened last year with the refreshes, like the iPhone SE and things like that, where it wasn't an event, but they just did a website refresh. However, a lot of people are like, okay, what do we do? And personally, I think it's going to happen. I do see how a lot of these things could just be a website refresh, but because of what the event could entail and what could be shown off, it only makes sense that there's going to be an event, like an actual event recorded, like heavily edited, heavily scripted event for sure. I think it's going to happen because one of the main things that's going to get showed off is the mini LED iPad Pros. So we will get new iPad Pros, which is again, another refresh of the iPad Pros, because normally the iPad Pros, they refresh them every 2 years. So in 28, like when we got the original in 2016, then we got the 2017 maybe refresh, and then in 2018 we got the full brand new refresh. And then we hadn't had a new iPad Pro until 2020, which is the one that I have, because I had both the 2018 and the 2020 iPad Pro. But now we're getting a new iPad Pro, but this one is going to be the big one that people were expecting with the 2020 refresh. Rather than using the A12Z processor, it's going to be using the A14X. But the main thing is that it's going to be using mini LED display technology rather than a regular LCD, which a lot of people are like, yeah, I prefer this new technology because it has all the benefits of OLED, but without the drawbacks. So, just as great contrast, good punchy colors, but it doesn't deal with the same burn-in issues that affect OLED. Although there are rumors that Apple could be making an OLED version, I don't think that's going to be likely. I think that mini LED is the way to go since it doesn't have the drawbacks of burn-in. But that is one of the main products, is showing off the new iPad Pro with the power of the A14X, which I would say maybe the A14X is probably similar to the M1 chip inside of the MacBook Air and MacBook Pro and the Mac Mini, which are the new M1 Max. But we will see. I think it will definitely be a very interesting value proposition for people that don't want what the MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro, and the MacBook, and I would say the Mac Mini offer. Even though I do believe and I do agree with people that the MacBook Air is the better value of the lineup, especially when you consider that for the same price, or at least $50 cheaper than the 13-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 processor, you would get a MacBook Air with the M1 processor, same GPU core, same CPU core count, but you would get 512 gigabytes of storage for $50 less. And you also don't have to deal with the touch bar, which people have started to realize, yes, the touch bar is going the way of the dinosaurs, because Apple started to realize, like, hey, it's pretty dog crap. No one cares about it. Just admit it was a failure, because no one cares about it. It's straight up useless. It was a mistake. Get over it. Like, some people get mad at me. They say, oh, Josh, I love the touch bar. And I'm like, yeah, a lot of people don't like it. It's pretty useless. It's like the Kinect on the Xbox. It's just a niche thing that doesn't serve a function. I'd rather have a function row. I say that now, and then I'm using a 60% keyboard. So, touche. But for me, I think we're going to see the new iPad Pro for sure. I think this is going to happen. Even Jon Prosser stated in his recent video that the iPad Pro was going to happen with the mini LED. We knew this was going to happen. It was delayed because of, yeah, basically that, because I don't want to try to get in trouble. But that is one of the items coming. The next item is AirTags. And AirTags, if you aren't familiar, we talked about them before. Jon Prosser has talked about them multiple times, has provided the most extensive, detailed look at them in terms of CAD designs. And yes, what this essentially is Apple's proprietary tag or tile system. So it's similar to what a tile is. So, if you know what a tile is, it's basically a little tracker that helps find your products, whatever you stick it to. So you can put it on your keys, put it in your wallet, put the little, I don't know what they call them, like the little ones that look like, or like those mini Oreos. I know it's a weird analogy, but it looks like those are the Nutter Butters and stuff like that. But essentially that's what Apple's doing. And yes, these things are probably going to be the size of like this cap. Let's use this cap as an example. It's probably going to be at least that big. And it is interesting because Apple is going to use their ultra wideband technology that they have inside their new iPhones, their new iPads. Pretty much every new Apple product has the ultra wideband chip inside of it. So the new MacBooks, et cetera, because it's all built into the chip. However, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, because it's going to rely heavily on Apple's ecosystem, or Apple's community, specifically everyone that owns an Apple product. So it's going to use other people's Apple products to help locate yours if you lose one. And that's why this is going to be a very interesting thing, because no one is able to do this. Granted, Samsung is doing this with their tags as well. So it'll be very interesting to see how this all plays out. But in my opinion, I think it's going to be interesting. Yes, this is the main reason why I think there's going to be an event, because this is a new product that Apple has never made before. It's a new category that they're entering, and it only makes sense that they have a live presentation to explain why you should have this, which I think for a lot of people in the Apple ecosystem, does make a lot of sense. Granted, these things are probably going to be a bit pricey because Apple's going to make their own proprietary tags for them, specifically like the carrying cases for them, because they don't have a keychain, like they don't have a keychain hole on them. So they're going to make special cases that have the loop and stuff. So these things are going to be a bit pricey. However, this is one of the main reasons why I believe Apple is going to host the event, because this is a new product category. They haven't done anything like this before. So it only makes sense that they talk about it. And I think this is one of the leading factors. Now, Jon Prosser has stated from his sources multiple times that the iPad Pro and AirTags are 100% lock. This will happen no matter what. These two product categories will be represented at this event. Now, there's speculation that we could see the new 14-inch MacBook Pro and the 16-inch MacBook Pro. There's rumors that there could be a new Apple TV that's already been in the works. There's an Apple TV primarily focused on gaming, and I want to give my thoughts on those. For me personally, I think an Apple TV straight for gaming sounds incredibly stupid. I know some people are going to get mad. They're like, Josh, how's that dumb? And I'm like, let me explain. Yes, there's rumors that there's going to be a new Apple TV with the A14X chip, and Apple is going to be promoting new games on their Apple Arcade system. And for me personally, I just think it's dumb. Like, I know some people get mad at me. I'm just like, look, Apple TV is okay. Like, a lot of people prefer using the Google Chromecast or, you know, the Amazon Fire Sticks. Granted, the new Google TV stick that just recently came out, the new Chromecast that has like Google TV and stuff like built into it, I personally have one and that thing's amazing. But I just don't see the point of Apple TVs. Like, I really don't. These things are very expensive and there's not really much benefit to them. Like, I get it, people want Apple Arcade. Like, there's people that like using Apple Arcade, but I'm just like, well, like, if it supported Microsoft's xCloud, and well, Stadia is dying, so we can't say that anymore. But if it supported Microsoft's xCloud, then I would think, yes, I think this is a great idea to have on Apple TV with the performance of the new products that Apple are making. So basically an M1 chip inside of them. I think that'd be amazing, because an A14X is probably comparable to the M1, because they even said that the M1 runs on 5 nanometer like the A14, that the A14 runs on 5 nanometer. So the M1 is probably just a very beefed up version of it, especially because it's running inside of a computer. But my personal opinion is, unless if Apple decides to stop being douche canoes and allow Microsoft to put xCloud on Apple products, or specifically the App Store, then I can see a benefit to the Apple TV. But a gaming centered Apple TV that primarily just plays games on Apple Arcade, I think that's boring. I think it's a waste of money. I think no one's really gonna care about it. Like, if they make a new Apple TV like in the shape of what the new Google product that everyone's talking about, the Google TV, then I think that'd be wonderful if they made something like that. That would sell well, because I feel like that's just what a lot of people would use. That's what people use an Apple TV to begin with. They don't use it to play games. Like, no one cares about gaming on a Mac. Like, I know there's people that say they want a MacBook or a Mac to game, but it's like, guys, Mac OS is not for gaming. It has never been advertised for gaming. It has always been advertised as a production system. It's just been used as productivity and getting work done. That's what Mac OS was literally built on, the idea of being productive. It's not gaming oriented. And besides, most games aren't even designed to run on a Mac. They aren't. Like, they're primarily designed to run on PC and Windows and using graphics cards and things like that. Like, it doesn't make sense, because these developers realize, like, hey, even though yes, the Mac market is big, it's not big for gaming. Like, there's not, like, you are in a vocal minority if you think that gaming on a Mac would be beneficial, when it's like, no, like, no one cares. Like, no one cares, my dude. Like, no one cares. But besides, like, shitting on the dreams of Mac gamers, I just don't see the point of them showing the new Apple TV. I think it'd be cool if they did, but I think in general, the Apple TV, the direction they need to go in is just focus on a TV only solution, because that's just what a lot of people use it for. They don't need this giant box sticking out in their table and stuff. And that's just my opinion, bro. That's my opinion. Like, I'm making that clear. It's my opinion. Now, we know they're not going to show a new Apple Watch. Apple Watches are always exclusive to the event at the end of the year with the new iPhone and stuff like that, which I think at the event at the end of the year is when we'll probably see another iPad Pro, knowing Apple. But in regards to maybe iPhone SE Plus rumors or another iPhone SE, I don't think it's possible. John Prosser mentioned that there was supposed to be an iPhone SE Plus that come out with the iPhone SE, like this one right here, but there wasn't. And that was the downside, was that it wasn't ready because of that. So, you know, there's that. So I don't think they're going to show it. I don't think they're going to show the 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pro refreshes. I think they want to save that for probably the end of the year when they make a better M1 chip. So maybe the M1X or maybe M2. And this would be the second generation to refresh a new design and everything, because everyone really wants the 16-inch refresh with an M1 chip, especially because, yes, as I've stated multiple times, the 16-inch MacBook Pro was my favorite MacBook Pro. It was amazing. It was one of the best MacBooks Apple's made in a very long time until these came out. These are great. And I feel like once we get a 16-inch MacBook Pro with an M1 chip and discrete graphics and things like that, or whatever they decide to do, I think it's going to be crazy, and I'm excited to see how that works. But I don't think they're going to show them. I think they're going to save those for later. They might do a refresh, which I don't think they will just do a refresh, because especially a 14-inch MacBook Pro, like, to get rid of the bezels and the new redesign and everything like that, I think they're going to save that for a big event so they can talk about it. I could see that being WWDC's reveal, but we'll have to see. But in my opinion, I don't see new MacBooks getting announced. I primarily believe this event is just going to focus on the iPad Pro and AirTags. And it's going to be a quick 1 hour event, especially because AirTags is a new product market. They're going to take a lot of time talking about it. And then they're going to talk about the iPad Pro and talk about the benefits of mini LED. They're going to talk about why this is great, why you should buy it. And I know a lot of people will, because as I mentioned, the iPad Pro is one of the best iPads Apple has made in a very long time. Granted, would I be surprised if they pull a sleeper hit and they pull out I would say the iPad mini refresh that looks like the modern iPad style with Face ID and stuff like that? Yeah, I think that would be cool if they did that. I know a lot of people really want the mini refresh, because the mini refresh, I feel like, is probably one of the more important ones, if I'm being honest, like putting mini LED on it and making it look nicer. I just personally think that would be a great seller right there for a lot of people, especially because there's a lot of people that would probably buy that as a small tablet just to carry around for other media or writing notes. But that's just my opinion on the matter. But that's really all I got for you guys today. Like, I know some people are going to get mad because, yes, it's weird that they're going to do an event for only 2 items, but it does make sense because these are 2 items that a lot of people were expecting. These items were almost ready, or were ready last year, but because of production issues, like, you know, that the coughing stuff caused the production issues. So I think you can put 2 and 2 together, but because these products were already ready, or at least close to being ready, it only makes sense that these 2 are going to take up an event by themselves. I know why a lot of insiders are saying, like, look, there won't be an event, it's not going to happen, but I just don't think, logically speaking, if we're trying to use logic and reasoning here, that Apple would release a brand new, never before seen product, never even touched, unannounced. Like, they are going to do a big event to explain why it's important, explain how it works, even though, yes, we have seen renders, we have gotten confirmation on how these things are going to work and, like, how accurate they're going to be, but I just don't see Apple risking that with these products. I don't see them announcing this new technology or this new product category with no, you know, song and dance routine. I don't see it happening. I just think it's not reasonable to think that they would just do that, because that's like saying they would launch a new iPhone without doing an event. Like, no, like, even though I do believe they probably should, especially because, let's be honest, we're comparing the 11 Pro to the 12 Pro. It's pretty much the same damn phone, besides like a new processor and, you know, the 12 Pro Max having that new camera sensor. Aside from that, I would have said that was pretty much the only reason to host an event, or not even host an event for the 12 Pros and just you know, just release them on the website. To be honest, that would have been easy. The 12, maybe. The 12 mini, it didn't sell the best. But I do believe for sure the iPad Pro and AirTags will be the main headliners. Probably the only thing. I would be surprised if they do the Apple TV. I'd be surprised if they do the iPad mini. I would be incredibly shocked if they did the new AirPods, or if they did, because there are rumors going around that there's going to be a new AirPods coming out, the new baseline AirPods that replace the Gen 2s, but these will be in the shape of the, I would say, the Pros, just a little bit different. Like the case will be like a hybrid between the original case and the Pros case, and they will look like the Pros with the removable tips. It's just they won't have a lot of the features like the active noise canceling and things like that. But personally speaking, I would be shocked if the new MacBooks are shown off. I feel like that would be mental, especially because a lot of people have stated, like, well, not stated, but we knew this, that the MacBook Air, the 13-inch MacBook Pro, and the Mac Mini are the entry-level Macs. These are not the big professional ones. I think we're going to see those soon, this year for sure. I just don't think this early. I think wait till maybe WWDC, or at least later in the year. But that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Again, I'm only doing one episode this week because of school. Like, I just want to get things ready. But until then, I love you guys to death. Please continue to be safe, guys, and I will see you guys next week. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode too. Like, it was fun. Like, yes, I ranted a little bit, but it was fun. But I love you guys. Take care. Bye. Hey there. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and listening to today's episode. If you're interested in supporting the show, whether it be financially, clicking the follow button, or just sharing the episode, it all works for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I love you guys to death.